So if you're doing attic floor, definitely you don't want to use a spray foam. You should just use blown-in insulation, cellulose, Optima, or as such, Rockwool. As long as it's blown in, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. No, I
Now,
mean in between the joists on the
yeah,
roof, right?
if you are doing the roof line between the rafters, then you have a couple of options. You can do either, you always have to do, if you want to do the rafters, not for energy code, but we recommend at least 4 inches of closed cell first, 3 to 4 inches of closed cell first, to avoid the potential condensation issue. Okay? Because, for example, if you do it all, I don't know, doesn't matter, 12, 15, 16, 20 inches of open cell, warm moisture air always goes up and can easily go through open cell. And if it sees that cold sheeting on your roof line, you're going to have condensation. And that open cell can become spongy. Now, if you do, so that 3-4 inches of closed cell, it creates a warm surface, okay? And then it avoids that condensation issue, okay? And then you can cover the rest with open cell, or you can dense pack it with cellulose or Optima, etc. And usually also for additional layer of protection, you can, if you have to dense pack it, you need a web net as such. But we would recommend to use something like Intello or Certainteed, which are smart membrane. In fact, I'm going to talk about, since you guys are signed up for the next session, which is the thermal envelope, I'm going to talk about these two materials, a smart membrane.
All right. So I have one more question for you. You said like the architect, I forgot his Darwin, right? He asked about if you have you mentioned let's say the people has a house with one existing floor and they want to add up a second floor, okay? So and then they're gonna redo their entire HVAC system, all right? So but they're adding a second floor but keeping the existing finished first floor, and there's a lot of cracks, hardwood floor which they don't want to touch, which is they have the basement under, the existing windows, existing doors. So, but the second floor is over 1,000 square. They demand HARS rated and all this stuff. Okay, so they're gonna do the siding and then they go with 1/2 inch or I5 exterior insulation on the bottom of the house on exterior side. But
on the new 2x6 or on the 2x4?
On the new second floor 2x6s.
So you don't have to. If you're going with the performance path, you don't have to do continuous insulation. If you're going with the prescriptive path, you have to. Or you can do R30 cavity insulation alternative.
Yeah. But my question for you is, so once they come, as I saw that door air blow is mandatory, right, for the HARS rating. So yeah. Let's say they come and I do the new addition as all the specs from HARS rating, all the insulating, how it should be. But the existing first floor is there's new code that makes an obligation for the homeowner to do that air tight with that system, looks like a paint that goes to that.
ABS. Yeah, ABS.
Yeah, it's exactly what he mentioned earlier, where you have to basically get a moving company for a day, move all the stuff out, and do the water-based, non-bad for the environment, ABS, exactly. So that's what they're going to have to do. Is that basically the standard that we need to do now for all of those other cases?
Well, that is one way to do it. As I said, I've heard different recommendation. Do your projects in 2 phases so you don't have to do this. Or
Right.
do,
I'm
as
sure
you
there's
said,
something in the
bring the
code that will.
threshold down. I'm
I'm
sorry.
I'm sure there's something in the code that's gonna
Yeah.
avoid that. Like maybe
We
maybe this
have,
the
we
permit
have-
is 2 years. Like you have to wait a period, right? You can't just. I don't think it's gonna fly.
Yeah,
And
we have.
but
Go
the
ahead.
end of my question is that EPS, you call that?
ABS
what?
is air barrier sealing. ABS.
Okay.
Aero barrier
Okay.
sealing. I'm going
Yeah.
to talk about it more
Yeah.
in the next session.
Yeah. But the question for you is that mandatory? Let's say, you said it's 2 phase, but if the client doesn't want it to do that on the existing floor, because that's a white, as we could saw on that little hole from the door from the deadbolt, that's blocks and the white, so you able to see. So if they don't want to paint in that, so the existing hardwood moves a lot of seams in between them. That means basically she's going to screw out the existing finish on the house. And the question for you is that an obligation for the homeowner to do that kind of a system on the existing finish area, or just on the new, or that's like an additional option for the client instead of using like the conventional insulation system, or that's an additional airtight system that you can opt for that, or is that an obligation?
Okay, so let me first go back to your first comments that you mentioned. So you, as I mentioned, if you cover for example, the floor that you mentioned with the 4 mil poly, okay, none of that fog is gonna get to your finished hardwood floor, okay. That is number one. Number two is about mandatory requirement of doing aero barrier sealing, ABS. No, it's not mandatory at all. The code doesn't care. But you need to make sure at the end of the day, you have to bring your HERS down to 52. It used to be, before January 1st of last year, it used to be 65. 65 was easy, was manageable to bring renovation project below 65. But 52 is challenging. I mean, for God's sake, for new construction was 55, not 52. Now, all of a sudden, they brought both the new construction and renovation project down to 52. And now for a specialized code town, going down to 42 or 45, which is crazy. Go ahead.
That, okay. So that means renovation, she can take all the ceiling from the basement down, do like a kind of a spray foam from inside the basement.
No. Who said that? No. Usually these insulation has been taken care of with the mass save. Even, let's say, if that home, for whatever reason, has not gone through mass save, utility requirement is when we do a RNA, renovation addition projects, if we find out that some walls or ceiling or basement ceiling, as you said, or whatever, does not have insulation on existing part of the home, not the new construction part.
All right.
Existing part of the home, we are going to call weatherization to come in and do their basics first. So they are going to take care of the insulation. But what they cannot do air sealing. The only thing they are trained to do air sealing is the obvious big ones, rough opening of the doors, windows. They can put weather strip on the exterior doors. They can do the air sealing if you have open attic that has not been air sealed before. They can send a crew out. We used to send a crew out to the attic and move the installation aside, do the top plate wet walls, all the penetration. They have the handheld gun to seal everything manually. But what they cannot do, they cannot take care of all those little holes and little cracks and stuff that we can see or we cannot see because there are many holes inside the wall assemblies, basement, floors, etc., that we cannot see, but the fog is going to go and find it, okay, because it sees differential pressure. So those are the things that weatherization program cannot see. I don't know if I'm answering your question or not, but that's
yeah. There's also another way. I mean, we're only looking at one side of the building. Buildings have two sides. I think that we can also tie it from the outside. It would mean taking all the siding and probably basically redoing the whole outside. And that's another way that can help.
Absolutely.
It's just harder to, if they need to do the siding because it doesn't work, it's a good opportunity to say, okay, we can do this. You don't have to move all your furniture from the inside of the building now, and we can try to see how that is. Could we do okay, you have an idea. Go ahead. Because I was also thinking that maybe that's done prior, and maybe you still need to do the inside anyway. But
yeah, actually, no, there are a few things here. It's a good question that you ask. So doing from outside, first of all, weatherization, when comes in, usually they dense pack the exterior walls from outside. So what we used to do, we would just take one layer of the sidings out, okay, remove just one and across, and then we poke two holes up and down, two on each wall, okay. And then after we dense packed it, we capped it, and then we put that one siding back up so you don't see it. That's one way. Now, but your comment is that let's remove the whole siding out, and then, but that's not enough. You have to remove the sheeting out as well in order to properly see. Let's say you take the sheeting out and you spray foam it from outside, right? That's where you're getting probably. I tell you what, we have been to a $4.5 million home, single family, right here actually in Lexington, okay, brand new. It was, we can imagine how large, 10,000 square foot home, nine block garage, if believe it or not. And the guy paid like $85,000 to spray foam the whole house. And it was like a cave when you do midpoint inspection. It was literally like a cave. Everything was foamed up. And guess what? At the final, the blower door number was not as good as we expected. And finally, after discovering, we found out from one of the knee wall section, there was a rush of air coming behind one of the air handlers. But it was very hard to go behind the air handler at that time because it was on the way. And so my point is, even if you spray the whole house, okay, even from outside or inside, that's not guaranteed result, right? At the end of the day, I have always said, even the best, we know a few very good installation companies, but at the end of the day, it comes back with that crew that goes on that day to that building, and with that person who is actually spraying, and with that time of the year, what the temperature is and what the ratio of the liquids that they use, usually they come. Those all comes back to the expertise of the person and who is spraying on that day, special day. So the fact of the matter is the result is not guaranteed. That's why nowadays, after January of last year, we always recommend, to avoid headache, let's do a rough blower door testing post-plaster. If your number is good, that is very usually close to your final blower door testing. post plaster before you start finished work. If your number is good, thumbs up, you go ahead and finish your project. You don't need any ABS or anything. If your number is not good, then you may want to think about some alternatives to get your numbers good now, because once everything is finished, it's going to become much harder. Now, talking about moving all the furnitures out, I didn't mean to say all furnitures out. You can keep all big furnitures inside the rooms and then have them cover it, with blankets or whatever, with the plastic. And that would be good, but you don't want, move into a regular home, which everything is pots and pans, everything is there. It would be challenging, right? Or people living there. But go ahead.
As he told, like taking the siding, but now so you're doing addition, like say, you said the existing house,
just a second. Let me see. Was meeting not for 1 p.m.? Yes, you're correct, Ali. I didn't actually see you. I saw 2 people were signed up for conference call. So go ahead. Can you turn your mic on and then your video on as well? Is that possible?
Who, me?
No, Ali.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
Ali, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, fine. My apology. I thought